Yo, 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 what up? Welcome back and bear down. I know you guys didn't expect to see me. I didn't expect to see me either, but there's just too much going on. I thought this was the dead time. I thought this was time that we were not going to have anything going on. I can take a family trip, take a vacation, and nothing to report on. Boy, was I wrong. No, just kidding. This is in between. First half of the trip, we went up and visited family where I grew up, saw a wedding. My nephew got married. Now we're stopping back through, celebrating a birthday, and then we're heading down to the beaches, heading down to theme parks and having fun with the little girls. So this is middle of the night. Girls are sleeping. Dad is catching up on the Bears. I stay caught up on the Bears all the time. I'm always on my phone. I got to prioritize. I don't know about you guys, but this downtime is actually this year making me feel like New Year's. Anybody else feel like that? Where it's like time to reflect. I know this is getting deep. Sorry, this is like Mr. Rogers' corner talk time right now. I don't know what it's called, but it does. It feels like time to reflect, time to reanalyze the goals, time to redo some things. And I'm gonna start reading a new self-help book. I'm gonna start exercising more. We'll see how much of it gets done. We'll see how far you guys will see by the face if I keep the pudge or if it starts leaning back how well I'm doing. But this is what I'm doing, and I think a lot of the players are doing that too. The only one I've really seen anything on, let me know in the comments if you guys have seen more, but it was reported and it showed Caleb Williams. I should have got that ready and showed a picture of it. I could pause this and do that, I guess, but I won't. Caleb Williams and his girlfriend were at the SS24 fashion show in Paris. It was also reported that he was hanging out with Lamar Jackson and someone else. I'm sorry, guys. I should have had that ready off the top of my head. Wasn't really planning on talking about that, but I just got thinking, guys that we've heard about in the offseason. And, of course, we know once he's done with his vacation part of it, he does have things lined up because they are going to report less than a month from now. So he'll have things lined up where he can meet with not only offensive players, his wide receivers, tight ends, and those guys, but also linemen and offensive guy and defensive guys too. So that was kind of cool. When I saw that, I also made a little video about that before, but I thought that was really cool. So we'll see some of that as it comes out, and that'll be the big news that comes along. But as for this team, there's big news rolling around. Of course, we know we re-signed Mercedes Lewis, but let's look at some of the other things that are happening. And the other big news that came out yesterday about Connor Williams. All right, let's start first with the upcoming dates. These are things that are coming up, and of course, nothing really significant until the second thing on here. But the first one, free tickets are on sale for training camp. There will be 9 days that are open to the public. That starts on July 9th. For any of you who are interested in going, July 9th is when those tickets go on sale for free, where you can go online and get your tickets for training camp, the 9 days that's available. But then, July 16th, which is less than a month from now, rookies report to minicamp. So, Caleb Williams, Rome Odunze, Kieran Amagaji, Jamari Chroma, Keith Randolph, Torrey Taylor, Austin Booker, all the other undrafted free agents that are rookies, all the rookies report to minicamp on July 16th. Then the vets report 3 days later, so 1 month from right now, from today. Then the first public practice is available 1 week after the vets get there, so July 26th. Now the ones with a little bear head next to them, those are games. So the first game is the Hall of Fame game. You won't see any of the starters in that game. You will get a chance to look, though, at Tyson Bagent, Austin Reed, see how they play out. Quarterback, it'll be fun to see that August 1st. Then the first episode of HBO Hard Knocks is August 6th. We do know now that the Hard Knocks in season is going to be with the AFC North. So the Ravens, Bengals, Browns, and, why is that space in my head? Steelers, duh, where our boy went to, where Justin Fields has gone. Man, guys, it's a little disconcerting to hear that he is not doing well in their OTAs and their camp, and it's just camp. But he's probably not going to get the starting job right off the bat like a lot of you guys want to see. We just want him to play at least 51% of the snaps from a purely Bears standpoint to get their 4th-round pick. Let's just hope Russell Wilson plays pitifully, which could very well. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. The second preseason game is in Buffalo, August 10th. Then the joint practice with the Cincinnati Bengals, a single day, not a week-long practice, but a single day this year, August 15th. Then the game against the Bengals on Saturday, August 17th. Then Thursday game, our last preseason game, the Chiefs come to Chicago on August 22nd. And then 2 weeks after that, we have our season opener. I guess it's 2 weeks and 3 days since it was a Thursday night game. September 8th, our home opener versus the Titans. And with that, it was time for me to officially go down and place my bets. No, guys, I'm not an avid gambler. I'm not a big believer in gambling. I think it can be addictive and it's a wrong. So, no, I'm not supported by BetUS or any other company or William Hill on here. This is my local little casino. I rarely go down there. If a friend comes into town, I'll go with him. But I don't really gamble. So these are very low tickets. If you guys are going to gamble, bet responsibly. Don't let it become something. And keep it within the frame of what you can afford to lose. I did do my bets. It was a lot of fun to go down there and bet on the Bears. I do this every year, just a little bit. But you can see my bets here. So the far left one, the big one, that's for the Bears to win the Super Bowl. Each one of these is only a $25 bet. The next one, the up top one, is the Bears to make the playoffs. That's a lower amount bet, $21 a week. So they're favored. They're actually a negative 115. Negative number means they're actually favored to do that. Let me actually bring this in a little bit. I don't know why it was so little there. Boom. The next one down is to be the division winner. So if they win the division, I would win $73 on a $25 bet. Then the last one is to win the NFC Championship, win $400 for that, $1,600 plus $1,600. So 4 bets, one to make the playoffs, one to win the division, one to win the NFC Championship, and one to win the Super Bowl. So nothing huge, $100 total of bets, but it was a lot of fun. Thought I'd show you guys that as we go along. It'll be kind of fun to cheer for that stuff. All right, so let's get into what I believe is the big news for the Bears. And I do believe the Bears are in on this contest. I believe the Bears will be a big part of this. Ongoing right now, if you see the top right here, Adam Schefter, former Cowboys and Dolphins free agent center Connor Williams, who is coming off season-ending knee injury, expects to be ready for the start of the season and is in discussions with multiple teams about where to play in 2024. He plans to pick his new team before training camp begins. All right, to the left, you see kind of just a Google search. It's all the news today. And then bottom right, Connor Williams, a free agent center who played for the Cowboys and Dolphins, is recovering from season-ending knee surgery and is expected to be ready to start in the 2024 season. Williams is being pursued by multiple teams. So it was said before that he would not make any announcements before he was fully healthy. This indicates to everybody that he is healthy, and they expect him to be ready for week 1. So that doesn't mean he's necessarily ready today, but I would assume the Bears are right on this mix. CBS Sports did something where they kind of predicted where the best landing spots were. They put 5 teams. The Bears were one of those, but along with the Bears, they had the Eagles, the Jets, the Chargers, and the Giants as the 5 teams that would most likely pursue Connor Williams. I'm going to show you guys why it makes so much sense for the Bears to overpay for Connor Williams as long as he's healthy. Now, Ryan Poles, we know, is in the business of making contracts that are team-friendly and that are in the best interest of the Bears. But if you want a situation that's ideal for the Bears, it's a Pro Bowl, All-Pro caliber center, number 2 in the league last year behind Frank Ragnow, for PFF grading at least. Only allowed 1 sack all year. I mean, he's just been dominant every year in the league, and he keeps getting better. And you guys know how I love my ascending players. I love everything about them. I want them to be the cornerstone of this team, and especially if they're already at number 2 on PFF ranking, if they're already the elite of the elite and they're getting better every year, go out and pay this man. It's the biggest weakness for the Bears right now. Here's Connor Williams' RAS score, 9.15 out of Texas. I put 26 years old. This is an old slide that I used from when I was I've been projecting him for months, guys. I've been projecting him since the beginning of the offseason that the Bears should go after him and get him. So this is, I didn't update that. It's 27 years old. His birthday was in May, so he just turned 27. Still tons of life left in him, especially when he's ascending every year. He's quick, he's agile, he's athletic. He only allowed 1 pressure, let alone the sacks, 1 pressure every 46.7 plays. That is high echelon, top of the league crap right there, guys. Pass blocking efficiency, 86.5. Run blocking is his main strength. Pass blocking is elite as well. So everything about him, we've already gone over him 50 times. I'm not going to beat the dead horse, but I am going to show some comparisons for our team. So let's look at it. Let's look at what the team looks like right now before Connor Williams. And the big thing that we're hearing about is right there at right guard, Nate Davis. Everyone's speculating. I haven't given up on Nate Davis yet. That's mostly because of the hopeful bear that's inside of me, though. If we're being real, that is a true piece of concern, because if you look at all the analysts, none of them are talking highly of Nate Davis. None of them are putting him in the upper echelon of right guards or guards, period. They talk highly of Tevin Jenkins for good reason, and the only caveat they have there, if he can stay healthy. If he can stay healthy. Tevin Jenkins has made mention that he is putting a focus on that this year. But this is where the team stands right now. Braxton Jones, Darnell Wright on the bookends. Nate Davis, question mark, hard question mark. Tevin Jenkins, solid going into the year. Hope he stays healthy. Then Ryan Bates and Coleman Shelton. I realize who you're talking to. They split reps. They said almost 50-50 in camp. Who knows who's going to be the starting center? Doesn't really matter at this point. That's not the point of where we are. Then you got Kieran Amagaji, high upside swing tackle, potential to replace Braxton Jones. I wouldn't bank on that, but I really like that we have a solid swing tackle now. Then you got Jake Curhan just kind of filling in the last roster spot that can fill in if he needs to, and Matt Pryor, who's played both tackle and guard. So those are the 9, and we should have about 9 that are on the 53-man roster. Well, what happens if we sign Connor Williams? What does this team look like? It makes it so clean. It makes it so every guy on that starting line right there is a solid green grade. This becomes a top 10 offensive line, in my opinion. And I think half the analysts would be split on that. So you're going to find that really is kind of where it would be. A 10 to 15th ranked offensive line. Connor Williams alone helps solidify that with his elite play. You got Braxton Jones, Tevin Jenkins, Connor Williams, and then you can have the luxury of bringing Ryan Bates in, who does have experience as an entire season at right guard, who played very well, better than Nate Davis's year last year, and up there with how Nate Davis played when we signed him. Now, if Nate Davis can get back to form, he would be starting. But instead of this Coleman Shelton, Ryan Bates conversation for center, then you'd be having a Nate Davis, Ryan Bates conversation for right guard, and that's a good problem to have. All of a sudden, we have options, and Matt Pryor can fill in at guard or tackle depending on who gets injured. Then we still have solid prospects like Theo Benedict that would be sitting on the practice squad. But for the 9 to make the 53-man roster, I don't know if I could script it any better than this. This is leagues above what we had last year. This would make every Bears fan confident in this team, and it would put us into the playoff picture, in my opinion, right off the bat. I don't know why, but I just love the picture of this. I just love the way that looks. That gives us such a solidified interior offensive line. I realized I didn't put Tevin Jenkins here, but these were the guys that we were talking about in question. So let's look at real quick Ryan Bates. Here's his positional snaps, and you can see up till 2022, I don't know why that's cutting that off. I don't like that. It was 35 this last year, guys. Sorry that it cut that off. But Ryan Bates, according to year, he didn't really have a lot of snap count. But in 2022, that right guard position, 821 of them. And that's what I'm talking about. It would put that position where he's competing with Nate Davis, and I think he could take that job over with everything you're hearing about Nate Davis and how Ryan Bates, the Bears like Ryan Bates. They like him. They're glad they got him. We've got him for 2 years. I think that's a solid position to slot him into. Now, in comparison with his snap count, you can see he had an elite year last year, 78.7, but that was only 35 snaps, and 33 of those were run blocking snaps. So it doesn't really paint a full picture of what he can be for us, but he can slot in from 2022. That was his year at right guard. He played very well at right guard, above 61 for a PFF grade, and you know that's kind of where I like my starters to be, is above 60. Now your elite guys are going to be above 70, and your all-pro caliber guys are going to be above 80. Well, how does that compare to Connor Williams? Well, right from the start, it's different because Ryan Bates was an undrafted free agent from Philly who immediately went to Buffalo after being cut by them or stolen from the practice. I can't remember if he was stolen from the practice squad or cut. Either way, he's played the entire time in Buffalo, his 5 years. And Connor Williams was a second-round pick out of Texas. So right off the bat, you can see left guard, right tackle, 1 snap. Right off the bat, his first year, Second year, 2019, 727 at left guard, 2020, 2021 left guard. And then once he went to Miami is when they switched him over to center. And last year the snap count was low because of the injury. He's been starting those last 5 years every single snap. Well, what does it look like? This is why I said I love Connor Williams. This is why I love players that are ascending every year. Look at his grades go up every year at every position. Now, his pass block grade with Dallas was a little bit stronger playing guard that last year, but it's improving still at center, and his run blocking grade is improving every single year. That's consistency. More than anything, this is consistency, consistently improving as well. I love the idea of Connor Williams. Well, let's look at the salary cap, and let's kind of analyze if this works for the Bears. Number one, the left side here, this is from PFF. Now, they're showing the top 3 centers from free agency. This PFF rank that it shows, that was overall top 100 free agents available. So that was out of every position. Connor Williams was number 38 and the number 1 center. Now, as you can see, he hasn't signed with anybody. Number 46, Andre James. He re-signed with the Raiders, 3 years, $8 million average, $24 million total. Lloyd Cushenberry signed with the Tennessee Titans, 4 years, $12.5 million average, $50 million total. That's kind of what I projected Connor Williams to be. But if you go over to Spotrac, this is their calculated market value, $8.3 million average annual salary, and they say a 2-year contract is what he'll probably get. And they say he's the 6th ranked overall center. Now, you can debate that. Everyone's going to agree he's a top 5 center. And I'm not saying I'm smarter than PFF, smarter than Spotrac, but when salaries are going up and Lloyd Cushenberry demanded a 4-year, $12.5 million average, and Connor Williams has played at a higher level than Lloyd Cushenberry, it's just going to come down to how teams negotiate. And like I listed, there were 5 teams that they mentioned would be good fits, and it's reported that multiple teams are in on talking to Connor Williams already now that he's verified that he's healthy. Now that he said, I'm going to play, who's basically what happens is his agent reaches out and they say, okay, who wants him? We're ready to play. Let's play this game. Let's do it. Let's get a contract rolling. Get the excitement and the anticipation building is what they do. I have a hard time believing Connor Williams is going to get a contract significantly lower than Lloyd Cushenberry's. Now, I'm not saying Lloyd Cushenberry is bad, but there are some chinks, and that was really his one good season with Denver last year. It wasn't consistency. Connor Williams has been consistent at guard and at center. So even if the Bears have something happen at guards, heaven forbid, Ryan Bates and Nate Davis or something where Ryan Bates just fits center perfectly and they want to bring Connor Williams in to replace Nate Davis, there you go. And I really believe he'll get a better But let's look at how it looks on the Bears' actual salary cap. You guys have seen what I've done with my spreadsheets. Let's pull that up. All right, so let's look at it with the hypotheticals of us signing Connor Williams. What does this do to our salary cap? Let's actually look. And so this is, if you guys remember, this is the spreadsheet I put together of our team and what it's going to look like. And yes, these are Caleb Williams. That's what it's going to look like once he signs. So let's just go. This is position by position at the bottom here. This is how much will be for each position, the signing total, the amount that will go towards the cap. The NA is because only 51 count against the 51-man salary cap. So that's the salary cap number. So Austin Reed won't qualify, but he'll be one of the 53. So here's the count of the 53 according to my projections as we stand. That's not what this video is about, but you can kind of see where I stand on it as of today. Some of it's hopeful thinking, like cutting Travis Homer and Kerry Blasingame and signing Ian Wheeler and keeping him on the roster for return duties and as a developmental running back. So let's just go through this. Caleb Williams, Tyson Bagent, Austin Reed, those 3 there, that equals the quarterback total. Okay, so each section will have their section total. We're just going to get to the nuts and bolts of the bottom of it, but with a couple hypotheticals. So DeAndre Swift, Khalil Herbert, Roschon Johnson, Ian Wheeler. Down here, I have the Bears taking and keeping 7 wide receivers. I realize that may not happen, but that's what I think is most beneficial to this team. So I'm going to run with it. And Velus Jones can fill a certain role out of the backfield big-bodied, and he did very well in the jet sweeps, even up the middle between guard and tackle last year. He had a couple runs, and he did it very well. So that hybrid running back role, I see him being able to fill in there, give us a fifth running back there. So let's not get stuck on the nuts and bolts of that. But DeAndre Carter, this is estimated. We don't know yet. At least it hasn't been announced or released, the official signing of DeAndre Carter and the value of it. This is what he made last year with the Raiders. So I input that here. Could be slightly more, could be slightly less. I would expect it to be right just above league minimum, which is right where this is. And so that's what this would look like for tight end. Mercedes Lewis is official. $2 million is what it is. $1.6 million with a $400,000 signing bonus. $2 million total. And as we go down, Braxton, Darnell Wright, Tevin Jenkins, Ryan Bates, Nate Davis, Coleman Shelton, Kieran Amagaji, Matt Pryor, and then Connor Williams. Of course, this is hypothetical. So even if we input that higher end of the spectrum, say year one, it's based on a lot of production, being able to stay healthy to reach that 13 million snap count, whatever we need to call it to get the 13 million. And then it's not fully guaranteed or a lot of guarantees so that we can get him healthy through the first year. Obviously, he's announcing this. His agent's announcing it. It's being announced because he said he wouldn't come back unless he got healthy. He considered retirement, blah, blah, blah. Gone through it. Now he's obviously healthier a lot sooner than any of us thought he would be. Everything that was speculated, everything that you heard about before today or yesterday was mid-season, that he would come back mid-season. So here we are. And I think 13 million right above Lloyd Cushenberry is right where that sweet spot would be for him, especially coming off multiple injuries. And I think this is a risk as long as it's not too much guaranteed money. And he would have to understand that too. Coming off injuries, who's going to offer him the most guaranteed money might be what locks it down for him. But having 4 or 5 years with Caleb Williams right off the bat, Williams and Williams sounds like a law firm, but it would be the lockdown Bears center of the team. Every play, those are the two touching the ball for 5 years together. I just think that would be too perfect. So that's a hypothetical for it. And that's still, look how cheap this room is still, because you still got Braxton Jones cheap. You got Darnell Wright cheap. You got Tevin Jenkins cheap, at least this year. Ryan Bates is cheap. Nate Davis is not cheap, but we can get rid of that contract next year and only have to eat $2 million of that 11.5. Coleman Shelton's cheap. Kieran Amagaji's cheap. I mean, this team is really built to make a run. This is really team-friendly value. All right, so let's get going to the rest of it. I didn't put 26 there, but 26 is be player number 26. We'll add it there. And then Montez Sweat, DeMarcus Walker. Now, we think the Bears are going to sign another edge or defensive tackle, but that's not necessarily true. It doesn't have to happen. They might be happier with these guys than we realize. And if you look at their SPO track, if you look into them, the Bears gave them both significant signing bonuses for undrafted free agents, upward of $200,000 each. So they paid a price to say, we really want these guys. They made a commitment. If they cut them, that money's gone. It's dead cap. Now I realize $200,000 is not the biggest chunk of money to have to worry about when you've got a $260 million salary cap, but it does show a significant commitment, investment that we liked both of these guys and we wanted them on the team. So I really think that's high leverage there to show that both these guys could make the team. Jamari Croma and Keith Randolph Jr. is who I'm talking about. Maybe Dominique Robinson really balls out in training camp. I mean, this is really the undecided spot for us, but it doesn't mean the Bears have to go sign someone else this year. And they could trade for someone mid-season. Who knows if the season starts out 7-1, which it's possible with this schedule and this team. Likely no, but if that happens, they could go trade for a defensive end as well mid-season before the trade deadline for a team that's willing to unload for a draft pick, and you could see us bolstered that way. But right now, as it stands, we're just going to go. We're going to keep cruising all the way to the bottom. Yes, these are my hypotheticals. That's not what the point of this video is, but this is the team. Now let's get to the bottom here. So this is after all the cuts are made. Here's your top 51. Salary cap is 255. The adjusted with our rollovers 260. You can go check these numbers on SPO Track. They're accurate. the dead cap from prior, and then the new addition of dead cap you see here on the side from the guys that we ended up cutting, like Reddy Stewart or Elijah Hicks, $38,000. Dominique Robinson, $136,000. Jatari Carter, $54,000. Larry Borum, $83,000. But obviously it saves some money to cut them too, but that's all calculated into this. And then you get down to this, and after signing Connor Williams, after signing Mercedes Lewis, we still have $10 million left. So is it possible? 100% it's possible. Even at a high value, the Bears are one of the teams that can go reach for this. They can go reach $13 million and pay him for it, as long as there's not too much guaranteed money. And Ryan Poles is good at making these contracts work. He's good at making them team friendly. I don't think he'd put us in a position where we'd be handicapped. And that's why you see some of these predictions or estimations being 2-year contracts or 1-year contracts because he's injured. But if the Bears go into this saying, okay, we see the injury, let's see his medicals, I'm sure they're sharing the medicals right now. I'm sure they're going over. The Bears have got to be one of the 5 teams, 6 teams, whatever teams that are in on Connor Williams. They've got to be. They have to be one of those teams. And if that's the case, they're going to be getting information on him. And they're going to be figuring this out and getting the medicals, working through the process. And if he checks out, man, what an addition that would be, guys. And we'd still have $10 million salary cap left over. We could go sign Carl Lawson. We could go get Carl Lawson still at $3 million and still have that buffer that Ryan Poles likes to take into a season of $7 million. You could take Carl Lawson. You could end up sending Jamry Chroma or Keith Randolph to the practice squad. $3 million minus that, so $2.2 million. Well, each of them, so $2 million change. So we still have $8 million left in the salary cap. I mean, this team is in a great. Ryan Poles, when they talk about Chef Poles cooking, Ryan Poles has done a master class. He's done an excellent job. He really has killed it. This is a good job by Ryan Poles. So really, really happy with him. All right, Connor. When you watch this video, and we all know you watch Bears content, we know you're already enamored with the Chicago Bears. Go ahead and think long and hard about your decision before you make it, because what you've got is a team that's on the rise. You've got a young quarterback that's one of the best generational quarterbacks in the last decade. You look at those other teams that want you, how many of those quarterbacks are coming up on their expiring contract, and what are they going to have to give up to jump up to number 1 to be able to get the next new quarterback, when you've already got a stacked roster where you can come into the law firm of Williams and be the 2 guys that touch the ball on every single play, teamed up for at least the rookie contract for the majority of the remainder of your career. I'm already wearing your jersey number. Now, I know that's a logistical thing. You and Darnell Wright will have to figure that out, and you'll figure it out. But the Bears are on the rise. So when you're thinking about which team to join, think about the one that's already a division contender, a conference contender, Super Bowl contender, with a young core that can build with you, that needs you, that you are needed. Oof. Connor Williams, come to Chicago, baby. You know you want to. Guys, let me know what you think. Of course everyone wants Connor Williams. This is a no-brainer. So it's not a do you want Connor Williams video. It's do you think we can land him? Do you think there's really a realistic chance that we can land Connor Williams, solidify this offensive line, solidify this offense, and be a contender for this year's Super Bowl? Because that's what that will mean. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I really appreciate you guys and all that you do for this Bears community. Best community in football, FGB. With that, thank you so much for tuning in. Claws up and bear down. Until next time, thank you so much, bear down.